My check 1 2 1 2. It's the Y2K Collector. It is Saturday, and I know a lot of you are going to be game hunting today. And it's hard to find a lot of retro games, but what's easy to find are those 7th gen games that you can still find at places like GameStop and most mom and pop shops. And so I'm going to give you 15 games that you might want to look out for if you do plan on doing some game hunting this weekend. I'll go through these quickly. The first one is going to be Dragon's Crown for the PlayStation 3, a cool looking vanillaware side scrolling hack and slash game. Shouldn't cost you more than 20 bucks. Another one is Nier. Nier is a cool action adventure, kind of open world hack and slash game. The main character has a sword and some really cool powers. You may want to check this one out. Shouldn't cost you more than 20 bucks. Next up, we have God of War Ascension. If you're a fan of the God of War series, you'll definitely like this installment. I personally think it's okay, but it has all of that classic God of War hack and slash gameplay to it. Castlevania Lords of Shadow, a very inexpensive yet fun way to play Castlevania in a 3D environment. So this is Lords of Shadow 2. Plays a lot like God of War, to be honest with you. And then you have the Castlevania Lords of Shadow collection. So this one has 1 and 2 in it. But this is definitely one you'll want to look out for. Again, a very cool way to play Castlevania in a 3D format. Has a lot of God of War inspired gameplay to it. Of course, you have the God of War collection. You'll see this in a bunch of stores. I think this is a great way to experience the original God of War games, both 1 and 2 that came out originally on the PlayStation 2. Great way to experience them with some really cool DLC added in. Then you have the God of War Origins collection. This is cool because you get to experience a couple of PSP God of War games. If you've never had a chance to own a PSP, this is your way to experience the God of War installments that came out for the PlayStation Portable, and I think you will like these as well. In fact, these games individually are pretty expensive on the PlayStation Portable today, so this is a great way to experience it at a cheap cost. And again, most of these games shouldn't cost you more than $20, so these are kind of cheap ways to experience those games. Another cool game to check out, X-Blades. If you like open world hack and slash games, you will like this one. This is a very cool take on a hack and slash game. It's got some hack and slash, and I think there's some energy projection on this one as well. She's got some cool powers, some really interesting environments, a very cool game for you to check out on the PlayStation 3. If you're in the mood for some horror, Silent Hill Homecoming. This is a very common game. You should see this on a shelf today. If you go to most of your GameStops today, you will see this game chilling on the shelf. This is a very interesting installment into the Silent Hill series. Started playing it a little bit. Very interesting. One worth checking out. Next up, you have the Silent Hill HD collection. So if you don't feel like spending the $200 for Silent Hill, or the $250 for Silent Hill 3 and the $150 for Silent Hill 2, you could save yourself 400 bucks and just get the Silent Hill HD collection. A lot of people say that this one does not play or have the same feel as the original games. I don't know, because I never really played too deep into Silent Hill 2 to really notice, and I've never owned the one Silent Hill game that I'm missing from my PlayStation 2 collection is actually Silent Hill 3. So until I get that game physically to play it, I won't really know the difference. But if you're itching for some horror or some survival horror, Silent Hill HD collection is a great way to experience those games on the cheap. And that is going to do it for the PlayStation 3 games. A lot of these games, like I said, you will be able to find a lot of these games at GameStop today. A couple of the ones that you may not see is probably Dragon's Crown and X-Blades. Those are probably the less common of these PlayStation 3 games, but I see a copy of Nier, the Silent Hills. These I see in almost every GameStop I go to. And then you have the God of War games, which are also pretty common. And then we'll talk about some 360 games. I have less 360 games because those are still a little bit more hyped. So people are typically looking for 360 games at most stores, but I'll go through a couple with you. Blue Dragon, shouldn't spend more than 20 bucks for this, but this is a very interesting RPG for the Xbox 360. Definitely one worth looking into. Then you have Way of the Samurai 3. I feel like this game should be more expensive than it is, but I'm glad that it's not. This is like a $25-ish game. If you're into like hack and slash style old school samurai games, you'll definitely want to check this one out. I used to have Way of the Samurai and Way of the Samurai 2 on the PlayStation 2. Sold both copies. Actually, I think my Way of Samurai 2 was sealed. Such a dummy. Such a dummy I am. If you're a fan of the Def Jam Fight for New York, Def Jam Vendetta games, then you will definitely want to try out Def Jam Icon with Fab, Fabolous on the cover. This is a very interesting kind of fighting game. Definitely want to check this one out. It's got some interesting music and some interesting characters from the Def Jam family. Like I said, if you like Vendetta, if you like Def Jam Fight for New York, you'll want to try and experience Def Jam Icon. And another one here, you may not see this one as much, but Afro Samurai, if you do run into this at a GameStop for 20 bucks, this is definitely worth picking up. I am a fan of the hack and slash genre, and it's definitely one worth checking out. In my opinion, I would give it a try. Got some amazing cel-shaded graphics and an interesting story to it. And last but not least, speaking of cel-shaded graphics, Ninja Gaiden Yaiba. You may not see this one at GameStop particularly, but it's definitely one snagging. If you do see it, there is a new Ninja Gaiden game coming out this year. So we know how these new games can affect the old ones in terms of pricing. So if you see it, try and snag it. But those are my recommendations of kind of cheap games that you will be able to find out in the wild today. Let me know if you happen to spot any of these, and I'll catch you in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.